take it home. But were you to get home and look down into your Coke bottle that you've mostly finished, and you look down and at the bottom of your Coke bottle there's a rat head, you wouldn't simply say to yourself, I'm wondering if I'm going to finish the rest of this particular bottle of Coke. You would begin to wonder whether you would buy Coke in the future. You would call your friends on the phone and tell them about the cool rat head. You'd go on local TV and show them the rat head. And all around the world, people would begin to wonder about buying Coke. It damages the brand. Republican elected officials that vote for tax increases are rat heads in a Coke bottle. They damage the brand for everyone else. This is not a victimless crime. Okay? It's not how sorry, sad that Joe over there is raising taxes, how sorry, bad for Joe and his family. This confuses small children about the nature of the world. Mom, you said they do, and right there I see them. So the importance of maintaining the brand, of not raising taxes, is step one. Step two is reining in total government spending. And in Washington, D.C., and in many of the states, we've done fairly well on step one, don't raise taxes, less well on step two, stop spending so much money. That's why, and now we've had some progress on focusing on government spending through the earmark issue. But if you wonder why our coalition, which is dedicated to limited government, falls down on one particular issue, which is size of government, think through the moving parts of the center-right coalition. George Bush stood in the middle of our coalition. He said, I'm not going to steal your guns, and I'm going to spend too much. I'm going to cut your taxes, and I'm going to spend too much. I'm going to protect your property rights, I'm going to spend too much. I'm going to leave your business alone, I'm going to spend too much. I'm going to leave your faith and family and your homeschooling alone, and I'm going to spend too much. And everybody in the coalition said, thank you very much for my vote-moving issue, the issue I must have, and I wish you wouldn't spend too much. Grumble, grumble. Nobody threw anything heavy. Nobody walked out of the room. It wasn't, now if the president walked into the room and said, hi guys, I'm going to start stealing people's guns, people would have said, that's it. Some of the people would have walked out of the room. Hi people, I'm going to raise taxes. That's what his dad did. Right? 1990, he came in and said, hi, I beat the Soviet Union, crushed the Soviet Union, thank you very much, and I'm going to raise taxes, we're out of here. 1990, raised taxes, lost the next election. We have not yet turned spend too much into a vote-losing issue. And until spend too much costs elected officials votes, only the really hardcore guys who come and spend a day thinking through how do we get to liberty are going to be voting correctly. We're not going to be getting all the votes that we need to get to rein in government spending. That's why I think the focus that you've had here on transparency is the light at the end of the tunnel. Because with transparency, and when we make state government transparent, and local government transparent, and the federal government transparent, then every check the government writes, every contract the government approves becomes an earmark. Every one of these is something that you can isolate and focus on and say, why'd you do that? Why did that make sense? And people will be much more careful about approving certain expenditures and certain contracts if they believe, whether it's a school board member or president, that they'll be personally held responsible for the actual language of the contract and the checks that get written. This has been sweeping the nation. Governor Rick Perry started the ball rolling in Texas. I'm a big fan of Governor Sanford. I went to talk to him. We arranged to meet in North Carolina, and we were at Giuliani was giving a speech at a conference similar to this, and we had 10 minutes at the end of the conference in a table in the back, and I said, I want to talk to you about transparency. The governor of Texas put all the checks and contracts online searchable. You might do that by executive order in South Carolina. And I started to explain it to him, past that, and he's like looking over my shoulders at girls or something. And I thought, I've lost him. I've just completely lost his attention. Several months later, I ran into him in Reno at a conference. I said, "Could I talk to you about transparency?" He said, "Oh, I did the executive order. I'll be up in March." I had 3 sentences explaining it to him. He decided, we'll do that. And then he started wandering around to see what else was going on and lost his attention. He got it. Now, if you can explain to an elected official in 3 sentences an idea, and they can go, "I got it, we'll do it." By the way, it took about 3 sentences for Palin. We were talking to our lieutenant governor, explained it to him. He said, "That's great, I'll do it in my office." He went back to Alaska, said to the governor, "I'm going to do transparency in the lieutenant governor's office." She said, "That's a great idea, except I'm doing it statewide." And that's one of the reasons I was always a fan of Sarah Palin. So this is, I believe that in the next 10 years, all government in America will be fully transparent. Every check, every contract, every expense account, the report will be up on the web, searchable at all levels of government. Now, there are a lot of good ideas that you say, well, what if we could talk the government into putting on a straitjacket, then we'd have it where we want it. But it's too smart for us. It sees that and it won't get in the straitjacket. But with transparency, there are 2 reasons why I think we will succeed in moving it forward. It's partly why we've had success in other states. It is nonpartisan. The other team, the honest liberals, think that if everybody saw how the government was spending their money, you know, Martha, look how wisely the government is spending our money. And we've been frittering it away on the kids and stuff. Let's send them more. Ralph Nader believes this, okay? That if you understood how wisely the government was spending your money, you would send them more. I'm willing to take this risk. And Nader and I have sent 3 letters to your governor, by the way, urging him to do transparency. Other governors have reacted more rapidly than yours has on this subject. But if a governor won't do it, the legislature can act. And in a state, for instance, in Michigan, where the Democrat governor won't act, the Republican Secretary of State that's the lady, put her spending online as Secretary of State. The Republican Attorney General put his, they're both going to run against each other for the ability to run for governor next time. So a Secretary of State can put the Secretary of State's data online. The AG can put the AG's data online, and both of them send a sort of screw you gram to the governor. We run honest shops, what's wrong with you? And so it's moving state by state. Local governments are picking up on it. 160 school districts in Texas put their check registers online now. And as Sandra pointed out, the governor's going to, I think we'll have a legislation to require it of all local governments, which will give us a model. So 1, it's been bipartisan. 2, the press loves it. It's only been endorsed by all press, right, left, center. This is the lazy person wins Pulitzer Prize legislation. Because you go online, you find a couple of expenditures, you make 2 phone calls, you got your story for the day. It makes it much easier for all reporters. Now, if the left isn't going nuts and the press likes it, it makes it easier for us to move an issue forward. And there's no one guy who can stop it. If a committee chair doesn't like it, you can have the governor do it by executive order, or another statewide office do it by executive. If nobody at the state level wants to do it, Ohio's been dragging their feet at the state level. The county of Hamilton County, which is Cincinnati, did it as Hamilton County. And all of a sudden, everyone's going, hey, how come the rest of us aren't doing that? So it's one of those issues that's very difficult to stop. Think through how radical this will be. There are 513 elected officials in the United States, local government, state government, federal government, 513,000 elected officials. It is often very difficult to get people to run for local office because they don't feel comfortable that they have the information. The sheriff has the budget and all the information. The school board has everything in shoeboxes. And so our candidates stand outside the school and say the kids dress funny and they don't pray enough and they use slang. And we're not as articulate as we'd like to be about what's wrong with the school. But When the school board's expenditures, all the checks, all the contracts are online, then you can in fact